The asshole for my response to my sister's boyfriend's brutal honesty. My female 35 sister, female 27, started dating one of those brutally honest guys a few months ago. He can be quite rude and make backhanded comments about me and the family sometimes, which is bothersome, but my sister says he's not malicious. I visited my parents' house to celebrate my sister's birthday, and my husband couldn't come with me because he was busy. We all sat down for dinner, and my sister's boyfriend said it was weird that my husband and I don't have kids despite being married for 6 years now. I was shocked he brought this up, but I said it was because of infertility issues, and he asked on which side. I didn't want to answer, but my sister said it was me. He said maybe it's a good thing because women over 30 might produce defective babies. He said now it's probably a good thing because he thought women over 30 might produce defective babies due to their age. I said that was none of his business, but he said he was just giving his honest opinion and that's all. I, in return, told him while maintaining eye contact, trust me, if I wanted an asshole's opinion, I would have farted. Literally everyone at the table bursted into laughter, and my sister and her boyfriend were stunned. A few seconds later, her boyfriend excused himself out, and my sister followed. She sent me a text saying I was mean and disrespectful to her boyfriend. And I insulted him maliciously just because he said his honest opinion. She also said I ruined her birthday by being petty and making her boyfriend the joke of the night. Would I be the asshole for not letting my wife take our daughter's door? I am 47, my wife is 44, and our daughter is 19. I caught our daughter doing the nasty with her boyfriend a few days ago, and she begged me not to tell my wife, but I felt she deserved to know. We pay for our daughter's college because I worked 70 hours a week for many years to have enough money for her to go to college. Anyway, I told my wife and she was livid. She yelled at our daughter for almost an hour and took her phone away and banned her boyfriend from the house. I told her she was being a little too harsh, but she thinks that these punishments aren't harsh enough. She said that if our daughter does anything else that she doesn't allow, then she's gonna take her door off of her room. I told her that I really think she's overreacting. I said my wife was being a bit harsh and she thinks that the punishments are harsh enough. She said that if our daughter does anything else she doesn't allow, then she's gonna take her door off of her room. I told her that she's overreacting and she yelled at me too. I had given our daughter her phone back when my wife went to the grocery store and she found out and she's angry about that too. She told my in-laws about this and now they're blowing up my phone and telling me that I'm encouraging underage pregnancy and premarital sex. I've also talked to my daughter and apologized for telling her mother what happened. I also told her that if she would like to look into moving out, I would help her pay for an apartment for a few months until she can pay on her own. Am I the asshole?
Storytime about how my husband hired a really hot assistant and now I want him to fire her, but he won't. Am I the asshole? Disclaimer, this is not my storytime, it's sending me on Instagram. My husband and I have been together for 4 years. Now, I've never suspected him of cheating, but I have caught him lying to me a few times. A few years back, I checked his Facebook Messenger and caught him messaging another girl. The messages weren't exactly inappropriate, but they were definitely flirty. When I asked him if he was messaging anyone on Facebook, he denied it. That's when I unleashed the beast and told him that I had seen the messages. That's when he told me that he wanted to break up because he didn't want to stop messaging her. This was some random girl that he had met at his job. We actually did break up for a few days, but then he literally begged me on his knees to stay with him. Then I caught him lying a second time. He told me he was going out to dinner with a friend of his who I already knew, and it was a woman. I had no problem with him going out to dinner with her because we already knew each other from a few years back. At the time, I was away for work. After 8 hours, he still hadn't messaged me. I decided to call him, but he didn't answer. That's when I tracked his location and realized that he was somewhere in the city. He finally messaged me telling me that he was home and he was trying to get to sleep. I took a screenshot of his location and sent it to him. Then he called me begging me for forgiveness. He told me he thought I'd probably get jealous if he knew that he was still with her. Obviously, I wasn't gonna get jealous, it was just more upsetting that he lied to me. All of that was a few years ago. Since then, he's always been on his best behavior. About a year ago, my husband started a new company and it's been very successful. So successful that he's hired a full staff. Up until now, all of them have been men. But about a week ago, he told me he needed an assistant. That's when I told him I knew a friend of mine who needed a job. This woman is much older than us and would never be interested in my husband. But my husband told me that he was looking for somebody younger and someone that was interested in the field of work. A few days after that, he had finally hired somebody. I didn't really think anything of it though. By the way, I work in financing, so I'm usually working from home. My husband and I usually meet up for lunch, so I decided to go pick him up from work. But when I got there, a young hot girl asked me if I had an appointment to see my own husband. I told her I was the owner's wife and she laughed it off. She then apologized really quickly but didn't really mean it. Let me tell you how this girl was dressed. She wore a crop top and super tight leggings. She also had a full face of makeup on and her hair was freshly curled. It looked like she was dressed to go to a club, or at least trying to impress someone. She then waltzed into my husband's office and tells him that I'm there. My husband quickly came out, almost running, and I asked him if everything was okay. That's when he said, yes, I just wanted to introduce you to my new assistant. Her name is Anna. Anna and I shook hands and I could feel that her palms were sweaty. That's when I knew something was up. My husband told her that she could leave for the day since he was going to be gone for a few hours. And guess what? She insisted on staying until he got back. And it's like she was doing it all because I was there. When my husband and I finally got into the car, I told him that I wanted him to fire her. He started to laugh and asked me why. I told him that the way she was dressed was incredibly inappropriate and that it looked like she was about to go party with all the makeup and hair that she had on. And of course, he told me I was overreacting and that he wouldn't fire her. Then he kissed me and reassured me that he wasn't even attracted to her. I asked him why he hired her and he told me that she was really smart and fast. Then I told him that if he didn't fire her, that him and I would have problems. After the second time I told him to fire her, he once again said no and got in a really bad mood for the rest of the day. That's when I told him that it was clear that she had a thing for him and that she was obviously dressing up and putting on all that makeup and hair just for him. He told me that she had a boyfriend and that she wasn't interested in him like that. But I don't believe it at all. You know, women's intuition? From the moment I met her, I got the feeling she was trying to show off her body and her palms were sweaty as in she was nervous. That's when I decided I would go to my husband's office every single day. And guess what? I decided to dress up too. I put on a sexy outfit to pick up my husband the following day, and she was dressed in the exact same way. Super tight leggings, crop top, and showing off cleavage. Her hair and makeup were done again. As soon as she saw me coming into the office, she gave me a really dirty look. I asked her if anything was wrong and she said no. I couldn't help myself and I told her that the way she looked at me was weird. Then she apologized and told me that she didn't mean anything by it. My husband came out of his office and told me that Anna, his assistant, had already brought him lunch and that he didn't need to go to lunch with me. I was furious. I gave my husband a kiss and went home. I insisted once again that he needed to fire her later and he said no. So guess what I did? I got myself a really hot personal trainer. Of course, my husband got really jealous. I told him that I wouldn't stop working out with him until he fires his assistant. He thinks I'm being terrible for wanting him to fire her, but I don't trust that girl one bit. And I can't say I trust my husband 100%. Am I the asshole? Anyway, my trainer has been flirting with me hardcore. I'm planning on making my husband as jealous as possible. Bye.
Am I the asshole for not warning my ex-husband and his mistress, now wife, about the cruel prank my daughters pulled? 3 years ago, my husband left me for his mistress. They had been having an affair for the past year, and one day he sat me down and confessed about the affair and stated that he wanted a divorce. He apologized for the way everything went down, but he fell in love with this woman and that was it. I make it no secret that I hate the both of them. Why should I be kind to either of them for the way everything was handled? So if I had the opportunity to make their lives just a little bit more difficult, why should I not take it? Anyways, on to the actual post. My ex and I have 2 daughters, twins, 17-year-old females, and to say they were pissed about the divorce and affair was an understatement. Since then, they also go out of their way to be cruel and hostile to her. My ex begged me to help him do something about it. They rarely listen to him and always end up guilting him, and I just laughed in his face and told him it's really not my problem. Last week was his wife's birthday and my daughter thought of a prank. She recently had another miscarriage and this affected her a lot more, as it was later in her pregnancy. My daughters decided to gift her a bunch of baby things such as clothes and toys. I knew about this the whole time and thought it was very clever. The stunt was executed flawlessly, and it ended with my ex-husband's wife having a panic attack and in tears according to my daughters. They even filmed her reaction. I got a call the other day and my ex was pissed at me and said things are getting out of control and that I should have stopped them if I knew about it. I told him that of course I knew about it, and why should I give them the heads up when she's a home-wrecking piece of S? And if she wants a baby so bad, she can perhaps try stealing one since she has no issue stealing another woman's husband. I know I sound crazy and went off, but am I the a-hole?
Okay, so technically my first lesbian experiences were in high school when I would make out with girls. But this story is going to be about my first sexual lesbian experience. Okay? So my first lesbian experience was actually it wasn't like at my college. When I say I was in college, I just mean like that's the age I was. I was like college age. And this is around the time where I was starting to kind of realize that I wanted to kind of drop out of college. I didn't really like being in school. So, but I was at that point, I was in school, but I had a job. And there was a girl that had just started working at my job. We're going to name her Roxanne. There was a girl that had just started working at my job, and I thought that she was really cute. And it was beyond like just like, oh, you're kind of really cute. Like I low-key was like obsessed with her.
No, I don't think you understand. I'm obsessed.
Not like stalkerish obsessed, but that is like how like attracted I was to her instantly. And it was weird to me because I was attracted to girls, but I had never had a girl make me feel like that before. Like from me just first seeing her. She was a stud. That was the first time I was ever attracted to a stud. All the girls that I used to like have a thing with in high school were like femmes. She was the first stud that I was actually attracted to. So we would flirt at work all the time. I'm not gonna go like have a long story about like the flirting back and forth thing, because that's not what the story is about. The story is just about like my first like sexual like lesbian experience. So I'm gonna kind of fast forward into that. But yeah, we would flirt back and forth at work, and I wasn't kind of sure if she was picking up on the vibe that I liked her or not. Yeah, we were flirting, but I didn't know if she thought that she was just flirting with like a straight girl, because straight girls be flirting. Straight girls flirt with me. Like, girls love saying they strictly dickly, but straight girls flirt with me all the time, so I can only imagine like what they do with studs. So I did whatever I could to kind of like go beyond the whole like, oh, you're just flirting with like a straight girl type thing, because at that point I don't think I had ever had a girlfriend before. So I was like a lesbian virgin. But I did like everything I could to like get her to realize like, no girl, like I'm gay, and I want you to try to talk to me. I didn't want to make the first move. So she eventually asked for my number. We started talking, texting, and then I don't remember how we started like going to each other's house. Well, I was going to her house because I was living with my parents. And my parents was not with that gay shit at the time. So she was never at my house. But I was always at her house. And I was spending out over her house all the time. And we would always just make out. Never went any further than that. She always made it clear that like she didn't want to be like my first lesbian sexual experience, because it can be very emotional, and she just didn't want to be like the first. I didn't understand that. I understand that now, because after that I went crazy over her. Whole nother story that we're not going to get into. But yeah. And now I mean, I'm in a relationship, so I wouldn't anyway. But now, even if I was single, I would never want to be a lesbian's like first experience. Never. I get exactly what she was saying now. But whatever. So I would go over her house and we would just make out, and it wasn't enough for me. I wanted to do more, but she would never, ever, ever, ever do more with me. So one day I spent the night over our house, and we would cuddle all the time. We would cuddle, kiss, everything except for, have relations. So one night I spent the night over her house, and we both called out of work the next day. I don't know what it was. I just know that we both just was like, I don't want to go to work today. We both were supposed to go to work today, and we both like called out that day. It was like we were supposed to be to work at like 6 a.m. We both ended up calling out. So after we called out of work, we had like a very heavy makeout session. I don't know what made this makeout session different from like all the other makeout sessions, but this one was a little bit more intense. And I guess I was always feeling the moment. So I'm not going to say I guess I was feeling the moment, because I always was down and ready to do whatever. But that day she was too. She was like, okay, let's go. And I remember specifically, she took a pillow and she threw the pillow at me because she had a roommate. And she didn't want me to be like loud. So mommy, if you're watching this video, stop watching it. Go to the next video. I don't want you watching this video. She gave me the pillow and she did her thing, and I saw stars, and all of a sudden I couldn't live without her anymore, and God was real. Just everything under the sun that you would think somebody would think when they feel like they're having the best sex of their life is exactly like what happened. And then the feeling that I had during this whole sexual experience, not like back then I was equating it to love, but now I just know it was because I had been with so many guys. Well, that's not like I'm a hoe. I didn't mean it that way. I'm saying it in a way of like, I had sexual relationships with guys before, and it never made me feel the way that she made me feel, but it wasn't because I loved her. It was because I was gay and I finally like let myself be gay, if that makes sense. And mind y'all, I didn't even get no head during that session. This was just finger work. I discovered head later on from somebody else, and that just sealed the deal for me. So yeah, after that, I wanted to have sex every day. I wanted to have sex 5 times a day, every single day with her. She was being stingy, I guess because she realized that I was falling in love and I was threatening to kill people that would even look in her direction. But I didn't care. I mean, like, I love you and we go together. Because why would you do that to me? You knew that you were good in bed. And you knew that you were going to be my first experience. And you decided to give me some anyway. That's not my fault. Whose fault is that? Not mine. But anyway, after that, we continued like on and off talking. I feel like when the relationship got a little bit like too intense, she kind of would like kind of cut me off. And then it's so funny to like think back of how I was over her. Like, I would never be like that over anybody ever again, but it was my first like girl on girl experience. So like I just was like gone in the head. And it's so crazy because after her, every girl that I dealt with after that, I think I got like, that situation kind of made me have a reality check with myself for how like I was acting over her. And like every girl, I don't know if I was embarrassed or if I just like got it out because she was the first one, but every girl after that has always complained that I am like very nonchalant in a relationship. Like, they don't think that I care. And I think it's so crazy because with her, I was caring too much. And like I said, I don't think it was because of her per se. I think it was just because it was my first experience and I had never been able to feel so strongly about a man, and I was pushing it all on her, and I probably pushed her away, but I mean, everything happened for a reason. I probably wouldn't have ended up with Amy. But like I said, at the same time, it was like, after that, I got it out. And then after that, I became the person who I wanted to be. And every girl after that just was like, you don't care. You don't care. We're arguing and you don't care. I'm leaving and you don't care. And you don't care. You don't care. You don't care. But it's not that I didn't care. It's just that I cared too much previously. I don't have no more to give. Like, I feel like I just got off subject. But yeah, that was my first experience. And then I went crazy. And then she stopped talking to me. And then I moved on to the next girl. She moved on to the next girl. We went our separate ways. I was devastated. It did take me a few months to get over her. And then I got a rebound girlfriend. And then I broke that girl's heart. I to this day, I feel the rebound girlfriend I got, I feel bad because that girl really, really loved me and I did not love her. I was with that girl, the girl after her, I was with her for like a year. And that girl was so in love with me and I just did not love her at all. Like, barely even liked her. It was like, really, it was a rebound thing that went too far. Like, she was supposed to be something that was fun. And then I got a little bit too deep into it with the rebound girl. And by the time that I really wanted to get out of it, she was so in love with me. And I remember one time I asked her, I know this is like off subject, but I remember one time I had asked her, I was like, if I left you, would you hurt yourself? And she was like, I don't think so. And I was like, nah, I really can't leave her. Because if somebody was to ask me, like, if I stopped talking to you, would you hurt yourself? I would be like, the fuck? No, I wouldn't fucking hurt myself. Like, I would be sad, but I ain't gonna hurt myself over you. The fact that she was just like, oh, I don't think so, made me be like, okay, let me not do her like the last girl did me. But in the long run, I probably made it worse because I stayed with her for a whole year and I knew I did not love her for that full year. I was just fucked up after that girl, huh? I was fucked up and I was taking it out on other people. Damn. I'm sorry. If you're an ex and you're watching this, I know I was a shitty person. I'm sorry.
We vibing to a different height. Your hands touching my scars, body's shaking hard. I believe I can fly. Da-dee-da-da-da, with you by my side. I believe I can fly. Da-dee-da-da-da, you make me go so high. I believe I can fly. Believe. Da-dee-da-da-da, with you by my side. I believe I can fly. Believe. Da-dee-da-da-da,
You know a burden ain't a bust. You are the only way to trust you. Fear burns up in arrows. Lay down my sword. Lay down a holy banner flag. Hold down my sword. Help me shorty on this way. Don't bask in the glory of mine. And I know they can't take that heart away. Bask in the glory of mine.
Hi guys, thank you for watching. I love you guys so much. Please like and subscribe to see more great videos. See you again.